Picture this. It's 5:45 p.m. in Houston, Texas. You're cruising down I-10 on your way back to your apartment somewhere downtown. Windows open, your favorite artist blasting over the radio, and in your bag, right next to you, is a perfectly rolled raw brand joint, full of that ground green stuff that so many seem to love. You pull out your favorite lighter as the sun sets on the Houston skyline, put the filtered cone to your lips, light and pull. Euphoria, ecstasy, bliss, focus, relaxation. You're high. Not only that, you're high in a state where marijuana is legal. Your body is now a container of a substance known as THC, a chemical compound produced by the marijuana plant, which for at least the next 500 miles around you is a criminal offense. Except you've committed no crime. This flower you were smoking wasn't purchased from an illicit back alley. You didn't make a transaction with your favorite local street pharmacist. No. This was purchased from a shelf in a local legitimate business on one of the busiest streets in town. See, what you're smoking isn't marijuana per se. We'll get into that later. What you're smoking is a joint containing Delta 8 THC. Let's cut back to your imagination. A police officer's red and blue lights break the orange and blue hue of the horizon in your rearview mirror as the pungent odor fills your car with the billowing, flowing smoke. You pull over, roll down the window. The officer walks up and takes one whiff. You're going to jail. Not because you're a criminal, but because for the past 80 years, a silent war of ideologies has embroiled a plant of all things in a dichotomy of a system that, despite having seemingly unlimited resources and expertise, seems to fail to get it right so often. The first ruminations of the federal criminalization of marijuana come from the late 1930s. Here is
Harry A. Anslinger, United States Commissioner of Narcotics, Treasury Department.
This country rejoices in the medical miracles that are winning victories over disease for us and for our children. But there are some disquieting headlines, too, and some of them underscore the increase in drug addiction. Our guest tonight knows more about the worldwide traffic in drugs than any man on earth. Commissioner Anslinger,
who served as commissioner to the Federal Bureau of Narcotics from its inception in 1930 until 1962. That's 32 years, a long fucking time. This government agency was a predecessor to the Drug Enforcement Administration, also known as the DEA. Prior to 1933, the administration largely focused on the then illegal drug of alcohol. Some issue makes note of the fact that Anslinger seemingly never took issue with cannabis prior to the end of prohibition of alcohol, which may have put his career in jeopardy. Some literature makes note of the notion that Anslinger's relationship with race may have played a large role in his demonization of certain substances over the course of his career. But I'm here to talk about chemistry and not race relations and politics. That's for another episode. Despite marijuana's illegal status in many US states and its seeming lack of use by many medical professionals, a lot of its users point to the many beneficial effects it has for them. Relief from anxiety, appetite elevation, pain relief. If users are reporting these effects, it is no wonder why, despite being illegal, millions of individuals in every state in the US have reportedly used marijuana at least once. With the Farm Bill of 2018, hemp products containing less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC became federally legal, opening the path for CBD products to become a nationwide seller. In fact, if you Google CBD locally, You'll likely find at least 5 locations in your immediate area where you can buy CBD. I've seen it in so many places, including my local grocery store. More recently, however, products high in delta-8 THC have gained in popularity. Delta-8 THC is a brother to delta-9 THC, the component of marijuana indicated in the classic high that weed gives. What's the difference? Good question. Here on the left, you'll see a Lewis structure of delta-9 THC. On the right, delta-8 THC. I'll give you a moment to spot the difference. You don't need to take an OChem course to see that the location of this line right here has moved. However, it may take some experience to know the significance of this. You see, many drugs impart their effect by taking action on receptor proteins in different parts of the body. In the case of marijuana, the chemicals in the plant act on the cannabinoid receptor family, named after the plant, of course, since chemicals that interact with these receptors are found within the cannabis plant. Our body actually produces a number of cannabinoids that this receptor utilizes. The biochemical difference between delta-8 THC and delta-9 THC is delta-9 fits just a little bit better into these receptors. This makes delta-9 more potent than delta-8. The everyday difference is, well, not so much. Users of delta-9 cannabis products often say that the high is weed light, and many say that it has similar psychotropic effects without the paranoia. So back to you in jail. You did what you were supposed to do. You didn't talk to the cops. You left it to your lawyer to handle the matter. The officer turned in your joint to a lab to be tested to make sure that it is indeed legal. Here's where things get interesting. What if they get it wrong? Because they are so similar in weight and structure, delta-8 THC and delta-9 THC are difficult to differentiate without a keen, directed eye. And in many cases, when it is in the best interest of the state to prosecute you, you may not trust that that keen eye is the one testing your joint. You may begin to see why I find this so interesting. This legal gray area is one that can have enormous consequences. In fact, the very act of using this totally legal product could put me in danger if I end up mouthing off the subtle chemical differences between these two products to an officer who just smells weed. And to take it even further, can this legal product cause you to fail a drug test? Drug testing labs are looking for the metabolites of delta-9 THC to confirm that you've passed or failed your drug test. If these metabolites are similar to delta-9 THC, you could end up out of a school or job opportunity because no one is bothering to look for the difference. Like a fine wine wasted on an immature palate, the lack of care for the subtlety of this plant and its products is tragic.